Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Back again with week one in the books. I'm joined today with my fabulous co-hosts. We got Nick here and Chad again. How you guys doing today?
You know, doing all right.
Doing all right?
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
beautiful Wednesday.
it is a beautiful Wednesday, Nick. I mean,
It
I
is a
still hate
beautiful
that
one.
I'm here,
You
but
still?
I'm here.
you
Yeah,
The the feeling is mutual, Chad.
I
yeah.
mean, I would hate that I'm here too if I was going against another person's team in the podcast and my team did not score any points. Because, like, imagine all 31 teams in the NFL scoring points on week one, and then there was just a team that decided, they're still in preseason.
All right, guys, it's been fun. This isn't working out for me. I'll see you all later. Okay.
No, we kid. We'll make the giant jokes come out swinging. We'll probably throw a couple in there later. But
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go ahead and we'll start with Chad. How did your week go for fantasy football? How many leagues are you in exactly?
Three.
Three.
I'm in three. I won one league, and I lost two. I still don't feel bad about my team. I as a little. Oh, let me backtrack. I still hate my team in Toxic League. I expect this to be that team to be one of the worst teams that I've had in quite some time as the season goes on. But it it was all right.
It was all right. Okay.
Yeah, having Goddard and Higgins hurt. You know
Yeah. Oh,
that.
it
Yeah,
hurt a
on
lot
this
of people.
on this on the same team though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Rough.
what's crazy is I also had Drake London on my bench, so like. Thank God I didn't start him, but
Yeah.
yeah. So
That would have
it
been
was.
terrible.
I feel okay. It's week one. I've been doing fantasy long enough to know you do not hit the panic button in week one. But I couldn't hear your audio, Nick.
No, we can't. Like,
No,
we
you're.
seriously can't.
No. Like you're
Yeah.
muted. Yeah, like we can't hear you.
Yeah, so we'll just keep going while he figures out his audio. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I went 3-3 this league. This week. I am in 6 leagues. Three of the games I won are leagues I'm happy I won in. One league, obviously, I lost in the dynasty. I lost, like, later you'll see. I lost in the dynasty league. That one was, I mean, he projected to score only like 90 points. He ended up scoring 150. He had Tyreek Hill on his team, so like it's hard to beat someone that had somebody that drops 40 by themselves. But I did lose in one of the ESPN leagues, and I lost in the Crazy League. So those two leagues, I'm a little bit more butthurt about losing. We'll see a little later with the ESPN league. I lost by a point, and I was another. It was if that was a league where Travis Kelsey was hurt in. I went with a tight end that I was questionable on going into it, and then he got me the same amount of points Travis Kelsey did, so it was awesome. If he could have just caught one ball that went his way, I would have won that week. But it's week one, like you said, no panic. We got Nick's audio back, but we lost his video.
Hey,
Yeah, we.
oh, I turned off my video while my lovely assistant helped me out.
Oh, gotcha. All right, we got you back. The lovely
All
assistant. We
right,
appreciate you, Natalie. But let's go ahead and jump into your week, Nick. How'd you go?
I went 4-0.
Oh,
4 leagues, 4 dubs.
oh, you love to see it. Congratulations. First perfect
I
week.
I want to put that 100% solely on the backs of the Dallas Cowboys defense.
Hey, Dallas Cowboys defense fucking came in and dropped 30 points this week. So I mean, you
Yeah.
had them across the board. We were kind
hmm
of giving you shit about it last week, but I mean, early week paid off. I mean, they absolutely shut down the Giants.
Can I say something? I thought it was a little. I secretly thought it was a little crazy to take him in all three leagues
Or
after watching in all four leagues. Excuse me. After what they did to the Giants, that might have been the the best big brain move that anybody had in any of the drafts. If I'm being
luck.
they looked ferocious.
Oh yeah,
hmm
they were in the backfield as they were snapping the ball. It was insane.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like I mean, it's like it's only week 1, and I don't want to go crazy, but man, if there's 4 or 5 more weeks straight of this, like you start talking about the '86 Bears. That's how good they looked on Sunday night.
Mhm.
That was scary to shut out
It
the
was
Giants 40 to nothing in their own stadium with a revamped offense set of weapons on offense. Whoa,
Oh, 100%.
whoa.
It was it was a sight to see. Like I don't know how they didn't pull out Daniel Jones earlier than they did. Like I feel like he took a lot of extra unnecessary shots when you're already
And
down 40-0. But that would be a decision for the Giants to make. But yeah, their defense looks scary. It looks legit.
it
We'll see.
was
We'll see how it plays out. I mean, injuries is always the thing that makes a good team. One guy goes down, one important key piece goes down, and then it seems like the defense goes with it along with the offense, like quarterbacks and everything. Like if you lose Micah Parsons, that defense is not the same. But as it sits right now, you guys, no, I mean number one defense for a reason right now. You guys
well
came in and handled business.
well last week I said, I'm biased. I'm a Dallas fan. And so I was paying attention to what was going on in the offseason, what moves they made, what they had last year, and then they stepped it up. And so I'm like, I'm biased. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but I don't think I was.
No, none of us thought you. I mean, a couple of us thought you were wrong. We don't think you're wrong now. That was an awesome, awesome thing to see. I mean, Monday night game. Everybody's watching. It kind of went crazy. But let's go ahead and just start into the first league here with Easy Dubs. This is a league that me and Nick are in, along with the rest of the co-workers. So we'll go ahead and just go down the list real quick. I had a terrible week, but this is the week I pulled it out because Theo decides that he can never beat me in game one of this league. So he decided
He's,
to go
you know
have a
what?
worse week.
Props to Theo. He pointed that out before you had a chance.
Yeah, he did. He did. He knows the record between us in week one. But
Um,
I knew I had a terrible week going in this week. Without having Travis Kelsey, what I think a couple of my decisions on who to play and who not to play hurt me this week. We'll dive into it here shortly. But definitely, there's a lot of potential in this team. I don't see me having another 89 week as long as it was week one. Everyone tries to tinker with their lineups a little bit. Who's going to pop off? Who's not going to pop off? This week, I obviously didn't do it correctly in this league, but we came out with a win, and a win is a win. So after that, we have It's Never Sunny in Philly, which is Matt going against Big Dick Jerry Jones. Another two players that low scoring week for them, but Damien went ahead and pulled out the victory there. Got a Chubby versus Let's Go Barbie. That is Mr. Nicholas himself with the highest scoring week one, 152 points to 122. So Zane had a really solid week as well, but just that's just the matchup that week. He went down to Nick. We'll dive into that here shortly. Going for gold pulls up the upset against Hitting Rugs because Hitting Rugs and this one Chris was slated to go number one uh, throughout the whole season. He did have a couple injuries already week one, so they hurt him a
mhm.
little bit. But 7 point game, not too much. Like he still scored significantly well. He beats half the league with that score, but unfortunately, like I said, matchups come into play. Isaiah, our champion from last year, goes down and goes to the newcomer. He gets knocked down by Big Dog Bites, Shelby. And that was another close one going into Monday night. Shelby had a couple players left, and towards the end of the game, Shelby pulled away, but there was a little bit there when he was about 95 to 100, so it looked a little sketchy, but he went ahead and pulled away the win. Let's go
That
ahead and.
was that was the Jets defense, who I've got to add are also looking really good.
Oh, really?
2 of my 3 leagues as well.
Uh,
Yeah, they look really good.
They look really good. I don't know if their score, reflects it perfectly, but the Jets defense is looking solid.
oh, yeah,
It's
they
going to be
are.
a
The Jets defense looked nasty.
mhm.
Isn't that the game that's coming this week? Jets Cowboys. So yeah,
Mhm.
two defenses that look really. I mean, let's be honest though, Josh Allen. I don't know what he was doing. He was forcing the ball when he didn't need to force the ball. Like they already had Aaron Rodgers go down. Like just ball management at that point, and he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to do a lot extra shit. And I really was hoping this season we didn't see that from him. Um, he's been known to do that in the
So was
past.
Theo.
Yeah, right. But he's been known to do that in the past. Just force the ball when he's not need to. He ended up, I think, 3 interceptions, and then on the night, and then I think he lost the fumble too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he did.
yeah, he had just a terrible night. The Jets capitalized on that big defense play in overtime. So let's go ahead and dive into my week one with against Theo. He was the one that was hoping on that Josh Allen train right there to go down, but it helped out. I had Joe Burrow. We were all excited about him last week. Cincinnati offense just looked terrible the whole game. They got pounded by Cleveland, so he got me 3 points. Josh Allen only got 9 points, which helped out a lot with those turnovers. Aaron Jones, the stud, drops 26 points before going down to a hamstring injury. It's possible he doesn't play week two, so that hurts me a little bit. But 26 points out of that guy, it's the norm. Joe Mixon, another running back that should his ceiling should be a lot higher. But Cincinnati just week one, I just chalked that up to a bad game. I don't see these fantasy numbers getting worse. I see them only getting
Oh
better.
no.
Travis Etienne, we were all high on him. 21 points out the gate. You love to see it. Deion Jackson, running back from Indianapolis, 3 points. I don't trust any Indy running back right now. So that was a bold move by him. Stephon Diggs gives him 26 points, but just couldn't get over that hump. Devontae Adams gave me 12. Looking a little low on that end.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers stole a lot of Devontae Adams' touches there last game. So hopefully we can balance it out a little bit with Jimmy G getting that ball to Adams. Mike Williams, he's one that I played in place of Mike Evans. I just wasn't feeling comfortable with Baker Mayfield going over there. So I played Mike
Mm-hmm.
Williams. Evans ended up with 18 points, so I put myself in the ass there. Michael Thomas, 11 points. Not too crazy, but it's Michael Thomas. His ceiling's a lot higher. Kincaid, he was my secret weapon because Kelsey went down. I was like, he got Josh
Yeah.
Allen. I was like, Kincaid's a rookie tight end. I think he's going to get some looks. He got me enough to win this week, so I'm happy for that. Tyler Higbee, another 7.9. Average for an average tight end. Kirk gave me 1.9, and this is where I should have played Brandon Ayuk. He dropped over 30. This would have been this week a lot more. It wouldn't have been as close, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
James Conner giving him 12. I think that's what you can kind of expect for going forward with James Conner over there. And
I could see a solid 10 to 15
yeah,
weekly.
I don't see him ever popping off this season unless the Cardinals get significantly better. But their defense is looking good, which is a bright side. But their offense looks lackluster without Kyler Murray there. I got Matt Gay, and then he had Evan McPherson. They both dropped 3. I had the New England Patriots defense, even though they went into Philly. They gave up a lot of points early, and then they turned it around. So Philly was actually looking not the greatest this week as well. So they got me 6 points, which was just enough to put me over the edge against this Minnesota Vikings at 2. But yeah, that was my week one against Theo. Let's go ahead and go back to the league, and we can jump into Nick's. Let's see. Oh, okay. Technical difficulties, week 2. Look at that. Look at us. So, want to give us a little breakdown of your week one?
Sure. Once I can figure it out. Sorry, I can't. I got old man eyes. All right, so I started Trevor Lawrence. I thought it was a good idea, and he did good. He wasn't too bad. He put up 17 for me, almost 18. Deshaun Watson though hit Zane up with 21. Now going into all of my games up until Sunday night, I I was texting in the group chat. I'm like, I think I'm going 0-4. I think I'm going 0-4 this week. I was not looking good, but I picked up Tony Pollard in all 3 of my leagues, and I picked up Dallas Cowboys defense in all 3 of the leagues that we're in. And
Yeah, it speaks for itself. 152 this week.
yeah, yeah, they really so Austin Eckler put him in. The guy's always going to be a stud.
Yes.
I I think you'll see those numbers all season. I think you'll see maybe a low of 15. He did get an injury. I don't know exactly what it was. Uh, James Cook gave him 10. Tony Pollard, big numbers because they didn't do anything besides run. The defense was, it's like if the defense is handling it, just run it. Uh, so he gave me 22. Jameer Gibbs gave him 8. Jameer Gibbs, I actually expected more out of. I was surprised by those
I
numbers.
did as well.
Devontae Smith, you guys told me. Remember I was like, I don't know about that one. I appreciate you guys talking me off that cliff, so thank you. He gave me 17 to Justin Jefferson gave him 24. That guy's always a stud. Olave is actually shocked me. I didn't think with the quarterback situation that Olave was gonna be that high. I expected Olave's numbers to be closer to the 10, 12 range.
Can I can
But
I
he gave
can I
me
can I say something? Right.
yeah.
So watching Derek Carr and the Saints, I was just like, oh shit, that's right. Derek Carr can deliver the football, and he has an offensive line in front of him right now.
He looks
And
revamped.
Olave is the guy there. It's not Michael Thomas anymore. It's Olave.
Mm,
And
it's
suddenly
both.
that Olave pick, for me personally, because I have him too, I think in one league, that suddenly became a late first round pick that I snagged in the third round.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
And I like you said, we need to see more weeks of that, but it's a nice feeling because I think last year I wouldn't have taken Olave. And now this year it made me I was even hesitant this year, but now I'm like, oh, that might have been a monster play at the end of the
Right.
day. And no doubt. Yeah, so that's all.
Yeah, yeah. I concur. I concur.
Amon Ross St. Brown gave him 19. That guy's all stud. I mean, we've got a bunch of great players here. I don't honestly like if I think if he played anybody else, like would he have won this week
Yeah,
with the 122?
I think he beats like
No, no,
six out of the 10 this week with
yeah,
that score.
you had like 125 or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Still a good week though.
Conklin I picked up because of Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers loves to check down if he's got nothing. So I felt a lot better about Conklin before before Monday's night game
yeah. Before
than I
four
did
plays
after
into Monday.
3 minutes in. Hawkinson, that's I mean, he's one of the better tight ends in this league, so you can expect those numbers, I think. I played Jamal Williams thinking that Kamara's out, Jamal Williams is going to do a lot better. And D Hop, I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised to see that with seeing how Tannehill played.
Yeah, I mean D Hop's always going to ball out. I think that's a little bit more closer to probably D Hop's ceiling this year than his floor. I think his floor is probably like 5 points a week, where his ceiling is probably 15 points. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're kind of looking at, especially from D Hop over there with Tannehill. I don't know. I have no trust in the Titans right now as far as wide receivers go.
Our kickers put up 6 and 4, and then right there at the bottom, Dallas Cowboys defense, 35 points. That single handedly won it because without that, it would have been a much closer game.
Oh, 100%. I mean, his Baltimore Ravens got him 11. That's still good for a defense in this league.
Yeah.
It's just there's defenses this week one that came out and smacked teams in the mouth. So 35 out of Dallas Cowboys, highest scoring defense this week. It's, I mean, there's nothing much more to say about it. They went in and made the Giants look like a college team.
Yep.
All right, let's jump into points galore. We all have, we all have teams in this one. So starting off the beginning of the week, I went up against Matt. Me and him have a rivalry in this league. We just take we take turns taking games off each other. So if I don't play Matt this week, I beat anybody else. But I went ahead against Matt. He scored 926 this week. We'll dive into that. He had some studs on his team. 758. The Cooper. I fell victim to Cooper Cup in this league. I have him sitting on the IR. It's just what it is. I went in and picked up the next best option. Natalie went ahead and took down Chad. Game one of the week, 656 to 521. NFC Yeast, which is Nick, went ahead and took down the problem. It's me, Kim. Kim was also the one predicted to be number one in this league. And first week loss, going down to 609. I think she scored. No, sorry. Charles scored the least amount this week. But then we'll jump into Isaiah played Chris. Chris took another L this week. I think Chris went like 0 and 4, honestly. 0 and 3, 0 and 4. He did not have a great week one, but Chris's teams look solid. I don't expect this to be a weekly thing. But let's go ahead and dive into Chad's game real quick. You want to give us a little breakdown of what happened?
Sure. Well, I mean, where do we start? I mean, even in this league, Josh Allen did beat out Jalen Hurts. I don't think that that's the case in most standard leagues. But look, the either the number one or the number two defense, which is the New York Jets, went up against Josh Allen, and they just didn't look that good. It is what it is. Again, it's week one, so I'm not remotely anywhere close to hitting the panic button with someone like him. Um, Eckler. Then he had Eckler and Mixon. Mixon with the what is that 76, and
Mhm.
Austin Eckler almost with 100 more points. I mean, Eckler just continues to be a point machine, and it does not matter what type of scoring league it is. Eckler just continues to be a monster. Everybody in this chat has had him or has him, so he's just hyper consistent.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, I actually felt that Miles Sanders had a much nicer week than most people anticipated Miles Sanders to
Oh,
have.
100%.
Yep. It's interesting. And Nick, I feel like you can probably relate to this just as much as I can because we both watch NFC East games, right?
Mhm.
I always felt like Miles Sanders might be a lot better than he's known to, but he's just not utilized in that right way. And it kind of felt like out in Carolina, it was nice to see him get that main role out there. And so we'll see how that persists into the year. The only thing that concerns me is his size and his durability. That's like the
I
only
think
thing that's
sorry, I think Matt can agree with you on that. And Matt's an Eagles fan.
yeah.
I think he can agree that they did not play him how up to his potential, I guess is the best way to say that.
Well, I feel like that's the case with running
Any
backs
committee.
in Philly. Yeah, any running backs in Miami, Philly, Kansas City, Buffalo. It's just they have so many good running backs that none of them are fantasy options because they share the workload.
Yep, agreed. Um, all right, so then I have Travis Etienne, and we kind of beat the Etienne thing into the ground in the first video. And I this is what I expect from him this year. I expect him to be a top 3 or 4 running back when all is said and done at the end of the year.
Yeah,
If
I
he can
think
stay healthy.
if he can, right, of course, if he can stay healthy. But that team has a lot of talent on it, and it has a talented quarterback there, and it forces teams to make defensive schemes to prevent him because they still have to prevent Calvin Ridley and prevent Christian Kirk and prevent. I'm drawing a fucking blank on his name, and I just picked him up on waivers. uh, Anyway, the other key receiver there, I give up.
yeah. And,
Yeah, if
yeah.
anyone wants to fill me in here,
I
are
forgot
we are we all
his
lost
name.
on
His
me?
name is not like it's right there.
Yeah, so um, TK Metcalf and Devontae Adams both had okay weeks. I don't think either of them had weeks that you're like super hyped about, but they had good overall weeks. So I feel like they both had like their bottom type of weeks, and we'll hopefully see like larger weeks from them moving forward. CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins. I mean, let's be realistic, right? Like this, when you look at my score, it's like I had such a bullshit possible first week to have T. Higgins with 0, Goddard with 0, and here is the bread and butter of all of it. Graham Gano with negative 90.
Yeah, that's
This is a guy who broke the Giants
Mm.
record last year for most consecutive field goals ever made. And
Hold on. I want to make you feel better. That is not our largest negative from a kicker in this league.
is it the
Last
Cowboys
season,
kicker?
last season we had, well, possibly. Didn't we have like a negative 120 or negative 140 last season,
yeah. It
Adam?
was ridiculous. I think it was one of my kickers. Yeah, but
Yikes.
it was a bad day. I mean, anytime your kicker goes negative, you're just hoping at least to get like 50 points out of them. You know, get a couple like point after attempts. But when you score 0 points and you're still missing kicks, like that's
We didn't
that's rough.
necessarily miss one of them. It just, went the opposite direction.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
Bro, there were so many WTF moments in that game as a Giants fan where you're just like, yo, what is going on right now? Like, this is really not how we're opening our season, is it? And then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then they're down 40-0 with 5 minutes left, and Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are still in the game, and you're like, what is going? Anyway, okay, we're gonna move on. All right, so going back, yeah, like I got crushed here, right? Like that. I mean, having two guys drop 0 is gonna crush anybody's week. And then, like I said, the negative 90 is icing on top. We talked about Hawkinson. He had a solid week. I think a nice surprise for a lot of people was seeing Tyreek Hill put up those numbers, and then Jalen Waddle still being an absolute stud.
Oh,
Mhm.
If you look at Nat's 3 receivers, right? She had Waddle, DK Metcalf, and CD Lamb, and look who scored the most points.
yeah.
So, good, it is what it is. And then she had Justin Tucker, who's always just Justin Tucker has been one of the most reliable kickers in the sport for the past like decade. And then the Patriots defense, yeah, against Philly still gave her decent numbers. You can't be mad at 47 from them. And
Especially when you
the
start
Jets,
at 50.
right, especially when you start at 50, and the Jets giving me 68 was definitely a nice feeling. They, like, I think Nick, you said it before, they look scary too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So a good week for Nat. I think that if Higgins and Goddard just put up some semblance of numbers and Graham Gano doesn't lose me 90, I think she ends up losing this week. Because she had an average week overall. But still, though, her team is very solid and very balanced, and I think she's gonna have a good season this year. So
Yeah.
I think she scores more next week
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think
I
I think
agree.
the
I agree.
matchups are a little bit better next week. It was a shame. Like for me, CeeDee Lamb this week was a. I mean, he still did CeeDee Lamb things, but it was a shame that the Dallas Cowboys were up so much that they started feeding the
Mhm.
ball, like running the ball, and they just had to run the clock out at that time. So Dak's not throwing it to CeeDee Lamb. Dak's not throwing it at all. So that I feel like that weakened CeeDee Lamb this week, but he's still. I mean, it's still CeeDee Lamb. He put up 81 points in this league. I think he got was it 14, 15 in the regular league. So it's still wide receiver one numbers, but that I feel like as the weeks go on, CeeDee Lamb's just going to get better and better. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Like you had 2 zeros on your team, you can't really do much with that. And then when your kicker gives you a negative 90, like doesn't
Mhm.
like your top 4 people scored outscored her top 4 people. It's just your the rest of your bottom is just like disgusting.
Brutal. Yeah,
Well,
And
brutal.
name one person from the Cowboys on offense midway through the fourth quarter.
I
Deuce
mean,
Vaughn.
yeah,
Uh,
Deuce Vaughn.
you know what I mean?
Got
RB
it.
RB
Got it.
RB3. You know what I
The
mean?
Lord and
I
Savior
wanted to
Cooper
see more of
Rush.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to see more of Deuce Vaughn, by the way, just for the
I
record.
I do too. I picked him up in one of the leagues, and I had to drop him because there were some waivers. So hint hint, he's down there. But with him being RB3, it's hard to keep him on your bench.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's hard to keep any RB3 on your bench, especially when there's
Hmm.
so many people that are available right now on waiver wires, so like that you can get an RB1 that everyone didn't expect to be an RB1. Well, let's go ahead and jump into your week.
Yep.
Go ahead, take it away, Nick.
Alrighty. So Justin Fields, guy's dangerous on the ground. He found his throwing arm, I felt a little bit. And we talked about that last week. So he put up 151 for me. Good numbers. Kim's Joe Burrow shit the bed. Well, I mean, we'll we've talked about it. We'll talk about it more later, I promise you. Pollard put up decent numbers. I mean, he didn't need to do a whole lot. They basically just sent him up the middle, like, hey, just go, maybe try to get a first down. We're not expecting you to do anything, but I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, which in this league doesn't really mean a whole lot. Um, Aaron Jones, however, for Kim, put up crazy numbers. Not crazy, not crazy for Aaron Jones, but just really, really good numbers. I don't. Did he score? Did he score one?
He scored once. Oh, no, he
Yeah,
scored. He
I thought so.
scored once. He scored once.
Once, because
Yeah.
I think AJ Dillon scored as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Dobbins. What can I say there? I mean, we talked about him last week. None of us were
Yeah.
sold on him, and then we didn't. Now we don't have to be. So I think I already dropped him. I think I think he's no longer on my team as we speak. But he still did better than Najee Harris. I I don't understand Najee Harris. The only time I've ever thought anything about Najee Harris is when he last season when he ran in that touchdown. Or was it last season or the season before when he ran in that touchdown at the end of the game instead of dropping at the 1 yard line, ended up losing me a Super Bowl. So I especially hate him. Uh Amari Cooper, I thought he would have done more.
Yes.
With the way that they just kind of routed Cincinnati. I expected better numbers from Amari Cooper. Um, I don't get it, but we'll see what happens going forward. Maybe it's just an off week. Calvin Ridley, I was surprised by. Not that I'm surprised by Calvin Ridley, but I didn't think he would have that much of a connection that fast.
He looked good.
Yeah. I mean,
He looked-
I
Jacksonville
watched a
looked
lot
good.
of that game. Yeah, but
Mhm.
Ridley looked fast and elusive, and it's just like, oh shit. Maybe that's because this guy never actually had a real quarterback throwing the ball to him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's a possibility.
Maybe. Debo Samuel, I kind of got, he did okay, but it was all about Ayuk the other day. So, it is what it is. I'm thinking that Debo is probably going to have. I think they're almost like the Lockett Metcalf situation, where it's going to be one or the other each week.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
that's
safe to bet.
she had Jamar Chase only put up 46. I'm going to say that's 100% to do with Burrow. You're not going to see 46 ever again. I mean, short of him getting hurt in the first quarter, like you're never going to see that number. You're never going to see 46 from him again. It's going to be higher. Guy's a stud. He needs to be treated like a stud.
Yes.
So that's a fluke, and it just so happened to fall on her. If her players played up to their potential a little bit more, I would have lost this week,
Well,
100%.
yeah. If Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase do what they normally do, you lose this week. But I mean, that's just week one. Like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. Pitts. Everyone's talking about the upside to Pitts. I'm still not sold. I'm still not 100% sold. I think he's in a better situation than he was. I think I think there's upside, but not a lot of upside.
Yeah.
I just kind of have him in there. I was just crossing my fingers that he'd do better, and didn't turn out. Likely really did not do well. That's 5 points in this league. That's 5 yards. They just did not pass him the ball. Uh, uh, what is it? Zay Flowers?
No, the person on her team.
No, on Baltimore.
Oh yeah,
Mark
Zay
Andrews?
Flowers.
Yeah, they were feeding him the ball. He was the IU,
Yeah, he was eating.
Yeah, he was. He's got good things coming. I left in Alexander Madison. I thought maybe that the Tampa Bay wasn't going to be on the field that long, and that would give more chances for them to run, and just didn't work out like I expected it to. James Conner, that's going to be your numbers, like we said just a little bit ago. That's going to be James Conner numbers. You're going to see anywhere between 60 to 85 yards. I don't see him going up above 100 a lot.
No.
You disagree, Chad? You were smiling.
No. I just because he's like just Mr. Reliable. I feel like that's like what his career has been defined by. Like he had like it was like 3 years of him being like beast mode, then like
Mhm.
3 years of him being like irrelevant, and then a year of him being like a monster, and then he's just back to like average. He's just got an interesting fantasy football career. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Carlson, I'll pick him up in every league, every year. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's what kind of style it is. I'll pick up Daniel Carlson. That he's trustworthy. I mean, he's almost as trustworthy as Gano. Uh,
You know
Butker,
what
you can
I'm
almost
saying?
know what I'm saying. Butker's the same way though. I would if Carlson wasn't available, I'd pick up Butker. There's very rarely does he miss. So uh, Carlson put up 50 to her 100, so she's looking good there. Green Bay Packers didn't look half bad against Chicago. Chicago still sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
Green Bay still
they
owns
put up
them.
six. They they put up 61 points for her, but I don't know if you can zoom in on that number there.
It's
109 points.
Jesus. In a league where they start at 50, 109 points is
And I brought it up over here just so I didn't get the numbers wrong. 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, 2 defensive touchdowns. Just ridiculous.
ridiculous.
They are the second highest scoring player in week one.
Yeah,
Just think
behind Tyreek Hill, which
behind
is
Tyreek Hill, they were the number 2 scoring
No, is it?
position player. It's crazy.
crazy.
Sorry, all right, Han. Sorry, maybe I'm wrong in regards to Crazy League. I'm talking in standard
Oh,
scoring.
got it.
Yeah. Sorry,
Got it.
like that because that's what at the end of the day, that's what we truly have to like compare it to, right?
I
And
was like, I'm
yeah,
looking at a
like
bunch of them up here.
yeah, and like they are the number two highest scoring
Yeah, in
player.
like a
They
regular
just
PPR league.
Yep,
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, ridiculous.
crazy.
That I mean,
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. That's all you can really say about that. Like, there wasn't a bad thing to say about the defense there. And do I see them doing that number again? I honestly, I could see it. Like how fast their defense was and how ball hungry they were. It was ridiculous. Like I'll say it again. It was ridiculous. But all right, so we'll go jump into my loss against Matt here real quick. I had Justin Herbert put up good numbers, 135. He had Geno Smith. He said I talked to him a little bit today about that. I was like, I think there's a couple other QBs in the crazy league that you can pick up that give you more solid numbers. He said he's going to ride with Geno Smith one more week. See what I mean. Geno Smith is a yard guy. Last year in this league, he did very well. I think he ended up
Mhm.
being like top 8 QB in this league because he is a yards guy. So I mean, it's good to put your faith in him. I mean, a lot of people that we put faith in didn't have a good week one, so it's hard to like judge them off of 1 week. But he went ahead and had Derrick Henry against my Saquon Barkley. He doubled my points there. Derrick Henry had a good. I think he was the only Texan or Titans that had a good game.
Yeah.
But Nick Chubb doing Nick Chubb things. He got 131. I mean, Nick Chubb was a beast all year in this league last year, and I see him to continually be a great asset. Josh
Well,
Jacobs is a
now he doesn't have to share with Hunt.
yeah, he doesn't have to share. Like he's getting the majority of the balls over there, and he's getting the red zone touches. So not only in a PPR league, in this league, I mean, he's always been a yards guy. So in this league, he was amazing. But now he's also getting the touchdowns, which is even better. Josh Jacobs, 73. I mean, I'm not panicking yet, but Josh Jacobs, I need better numbers from him. He was a yards guy last year. He was really solid in this league. DeAndre Hopkins, I picked him up because Cooper Kupp went on the IR. I got him from my boy Nicholas, but DeAndre Hopkins is no longer part of the team. I need more yards, so I put someone in that position that I think could get more yards. Justin Jefferson, he's going to do Justin Jefferson's things in this league. I think he was one of the highest scorers last season, 159. Just all over, just down the board. If you look at Matt's team, he just outscored me in every position. I mean, I had Tyreek Hill, which bring it close. I mean, 238 points by himself. I mean, I expect him to be in the 180 to 200 range every week. 238 is kind of crazy, but he has that potential every week, which is awesome. Chris Olave scored in 120, which is another thing great to see. I mean, you guys talked about Olave earlier. Evan Ingram scoring 54 points. That was a surprise to me. I did not think, with all the weapons over there in Jacksonville now, I did not think he was going to get any touches. But I mean, he got yards, which is great. That's exactly what you need in this league.
That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. Dalton Schultz, I expected a lot more from him, but I mean, I think they're still figuring things out. I mean, the rookie quarterback over there. I mean, I don't think any of the rookie quarterbacks had a bad week. They all lost. Besides, I mean, technically Jordan Love, but he's a second year or third year. But
Jordan Love is fourth year. He's same rookie year as Herbert and Burrow.
Oh, really? He's just, I mean, behind Rodgers. But so technically it's his first starting year. But besides him, I think everyone else lost, but they had really good games, like Anthony Richardson. But Dalton Schultz, we need those numbers to get up. I was looking at any of the tight ends in this league, but I still think he's the best bet out of what's left. Javonte Williams, he's another one that I'm not really sold on. He's 61 points. Mohamed Stevenson, 95 points. We take that, especially against the Eagles defense. Put up the yards for me. Riley Patterson, the rookie guy, I believe he only got 3 touchdowns, point out. Yeah, 3 PATs, so 30 points there. Tyler Bass doing Tyler Bass things, 160 points. He was a stud all last season, and you'd love to see it again. Philadelphia Eagles going with 58 points. I think a majority of that was off of early first quarter action because they kind of fell asleep a little later. But 58 points, when you start up 50, you always take that. 43 points from the Buffalo Bills. They kind of fell apart in against the New York Jets, but we'll still take that. 43 is a good number. Like I said, I outscore everybody else in this league. I just unfortunately went against Matt this week, and we take that L. But there's potential on the team even without Cup, which I'm excited to see. But let's go ahead and jump into Living Legacy.
I think you guys did the same last season, where you guys had 2 weeks where you would have outscored anybody else.
But we played each other.
But played each other.
Yep. And I think it's going to
be the same. We've had a few
trend.
like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because we'll always take the games off each other. Like he'll have a monster 1,100 point game, then I have a 1,200 point game. Then I have a 900 point game, and he's a 1,000 point game. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Little highlight. We'll jump into the Dynasty League, Living Legacy League. This is one I took an L against Zane week 1, 101 to 145. We got Chasing Legacy going against Grandpapa, which is Nick, and this is his win as well. He went 114 to 103. We got Straw Hats, which is Zoe going against the Grassy Wiener, which I believe is Chris. So,
Legacy. Yep.
So 128 to 94. Chris, like I said, had a rough week 1. He did not want to talk to anybody after the games. So
No.
we'll give him a little time to settle it. But then we have Arizonians are the worst, which is Mr. Malozzi taking down Matt in this league, 130 to 111. We'll just go over these real quick. I'll jump into mine. So I mean, just look at it. Tyreek Hill scores 44 points. Anthony Richardson scores 20. McCaffrey 25. They're doing what they need to do. The surprising one for me was the Green Bay Packers giving them 21 points here. That really swayed it a lot. I have San Francisco 49ers defense who looked really good against Pittsburgh. They gave me 15. They did. I'm happy with that. Amon St. Ra gave me 19. The T. Higgins score at 0. I think we're all going to talk about that a little later, but ridiculous out of him. Jalen Hurts only giving me 12. Ridiculous out of him. The Philly offense after the first quarter just looked lackadaisical, and I don't know what to say. It seems kind of situation with with Joe Burrow. I think this is not a weekly trend. I think this is probably their floors, and
I hope not.
we're gonna see their ceilings next week. But yeah, all around, my team was doing real solid. I got a 101. The T Higgins really hurt me, but it's hard to beat anybody in a week where one of their players is throwing up 44. But yeah, week one down to me against Zane. So congratulations, Zane, on winning that one. We'll go into Nick's game, which this was a little domestic dispute going on here. He had to take down his wifey. Let's see how it goes.
So I thought I was screwed after the Bengals game. So you see, I've got Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and Jamar Chase. So those three. No, let's throw T Higgins in there. Those four combined for 22.58. I just did the math on my phone here. I had to look at it. 22.58 points for
Yikes.
the four big stars of
Fantasy
the
football.
Bengals.
Not just the Bengals, of fantasy football. Like those are the guys that get you numbers consistently.
So yeah, I thought I was screwed this week. I chalked this one up to a loss automatically. Because I mean, you see those. Pollard put up good numbers for me. Lamb put up okay numbers. Waller, I honestly expected it to do a little more, but against the onslaught that was happening, I'm surprised he got as many as he got, to be completely honest. Like I said, I'll pick Daniel Carlson up, and there's my Dallas Cowboys defense again, 42 points. That's the reason I won this. Between him and Pollard, between the Cowboys defense and Pollard, that's the only reason I won.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
she didn't. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, besides that, you only have two other guys that hit double digits, and
Yeah,
those two guys barely hit double digits. You got 64
yeah,
of your 114 points from Pollard and the Dallas defense, which is insane.
yep,
You know
yep.
what's insane, Nick? So not only did you get to watch your Cowboys pummel the Giants, you also got to watch your fantasy football team make a comeback with Knack.
All four.
Wow,
That's
bro,
crazy.
how hard were you? Oh man, no, congrats. That honestly, that's like you borderline can't ask for a better
Oh yeah, it
end
was a great
to your
week one for me.
fantasy week. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
like I mean that's good. Congratulations, that's amazing.
congratulations.
Well, and I feel bad because every one of her players did good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, Justin Fields got 14 and a half, which is, a little bit lower than I think he's worth, but whatever. Chubb got 16. I think he could get maybe a couple more. David Montgomery, same deal. Chris Godwin, I think he got a lot less than his ceiling.
oh
I
yeah.
think I think watching what happened with Evans, I think it's also going to be a switch off per week, just like DK Metcalf. It's going to be that switch off. You never know who's going to get the ball that week. Um, Dalton Schultz, I don't think so. You were talking about him a second ago. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button on Dalton Schultz.
I don't
I
think so
think they
either.
just gotta. I think they just gotta figure it out. I think ride him. I mean, if you want to get someone to put in and leave him on your bench, sure. But I think within the next couple weeks here, I think we're going to see much better from Dalton Schultz.
I think so too.
I that's how I feel. Devontae Adams. I mean, uh, like you said, we went over this. Bucker, same thing. Patriots. Honestly, I thought that was a bold move against Philly, but it panned out.
Yeah, it panned out. They get you more than
that
they're
would be
projected. You take it.
Mm-hmm.
She had a real solid week. It's just
Mm-hmm.
you had
Ace in the hole.
you had an ace in a hole, and there's nothing more that you could say about it. Go ahead and
Yeah.
jump into Chad's real quick. He went against Matt. This is your 1 week win, so let's go ahead and break it down real quick.
yeah. I said in the last week, right, that I felt good about my team. I felt like my team was balanced with the potential for two or three guys every week to pop off. And what I think is like super interesting for me is that I think the guys that maybe you thought, well, no, it's a mix. I mean, like I think that you thought that you were going to get more from Josh Allen, right? And getting the zero from Gano was wild. But I think that this just is a testament to how balanced my team is that like we talked about Olave, right? like we don't really need to go. Losing Dobbins definitely hurts, but I picked up Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I feel like I'm getting the same value guy that I can play there.
Yeah, direct
Matt,
swap.
I mean, Lamar Jackson had both our quarterbacks had very odd fantasy weeks. Derrick Henry continues to just be Mr. Consistent it's like the guy never really slows down. As long
No.
as he's healthy, he's a monster on the field. Although I will say it was interesting. I think that Henry has lost his breakaway speed because there was one play where I was certain that he was gone and they caught up to him. So
Yeah,
that was one of
he looks a little
it
slow.
yeah, he looks a
He's
little
still got that
slower.
stiff arm though. You always gotta like he can be as slow as he wants because he's gonna put that hand in your face and
Throw you to the ground.
he's always has that. So yeah, he's lost a little bit of speed, but he's not any less dangerous.
Oh no.
Right. Right. Justin Jefferson, I feel good about, any week that you have Justin Jefferson, you feel good about him. I felt that AJ Brown had a semi-quiet week. That you want another 4 or 5 points out of him. We already talked about Olave. Goddard throwing up the 0. I agree with what you said, Nick, here about Engram. I was worried. I was worried that he might not get as many touches with all those weapons there, and I was happy to see him get a fair amount of targets and still come down with almost 10 points. Javonte Williams, I don't know about Denver, man. Their offense just makes no sense to me.
No.
Pacheco, what I like about Pacheco right now is that they had a down week, Kansas City, and Pacheco still almost gave me 10 points. So that made me feel like there's a lot of room for improvement there. So I was happy to see that. Jason Myers is again another one of those consistent kickers that always are going to get you it. The Gano thing, it's 1 week.
Yeah, there's no
And then
panic
we had
button.
the 2 teams that played each other. I think the Bills defense didn't actually have a bad week. They had a pretty good week. It's just the Jets the Jets just kicked their ass.
Mhm.
So it was a good week. Like I said, I feel good about out of all my teams, this was the team that I felt the best about. And that kind of showed through in week 1. And I think I'm going to be hyper competitive in this league.
I think so as well. I think looking at your team top to bottom, besides losing the J.K. Dobbins, but you're going to be swapping in. What you said, Miles Sanders?
Yeah,
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 I
big
think
upgrade.
yeah. Pick up great. I mean, I dropped Miles Sanders in this league week 1 because I felt there was another option on the board that I should secure. So I wasn't comfortable dropping Miles Sanders. Don't get me wrong. I still think he's a mid-range guy, but I think he's a safe bet. So it's a good pickup on your end. Like it hurt me to drop him, but I think what I got in return is a little bit better long term for my team. But yeah, a solid week. Like all your guys came out and performed besides Gano. I mean, Josh Allen does regular numbers. You have a 150 week. So
right.
I mean, your team is like you said. You're gonna have 2 to 3 guys now, possibly 4 with Olave there that are gonna be
Mhm.
points makers for you every week. I feel like you said this is probably the team you're probably most confident with, and there's a reason for it because your team looks good. So let's
It
go
does.
ahead and jump into the toxic league real quick. So week 1, McCaffrey Creamers, that's me going against the one and only Gabe, and Gabe continuing his losing streak to me. I think this guy has never beat me in fantasy football, other than for the Clown Bowl last year, which was terrible. But yeah, I beat him up 131 to 110. We got Justin beating up J Ray 157 to 130. Got Disappointments beating up on Mr. Spider 130 to 188. And then we have Thumb in the Bum, which is Chris losing to Brent. So Chris goes 0-4 on the week. He is having the opposite week of Nick. I'm just going to keep bringing this up just to keep hurting him because I know he does listen to the podcast and he's probably going to be smiling right now and then sending us a team's message at work. But he
So you
went.
just finished this, bud. It's okay.
Yeah. So go ahead, and then we got 50's Bodega going up against Half Chubb. That is Chad's team. He got a 62 in this league. We're going to break that down right now. What happened? What happened?
We're going straight to it, huh?
Straight to it.
All right. Well, let's see. Josh Allen had a down week. David Montgomery did okay. This is the draft that I had the 10th overall pick in,
Yeah.
right?
No excuses.
Yeah, I unfortunately had to fill in a wide receiver, and I may have not realized that Mark Andrews was not playing, so I forced a 0 onto myself, and then Graham Gano said, "Here, have another." Um, and yeah, man, I don't like this team. I wish that I had Christian Watson. I feel like that might have helped a little bit, but it only would have helped me not look as bad as I do. I'll be honest. I said it in the first one. I'll say it again. I don't like this team. I would never pick this team. And even though I technically picked it, but like having the 10th pick threw me for a loop. I was forced to take guys I didn't want. I don't like this team. Uh,
Minus Cam Akers, you got a great team. It's just terrible management.
No,
yeah,
I think there's potential in this team. I mean, Mark Andrews, he didn't play this week, obviously, so that's why you're at 0. You could probably expect 10 from him out of the week. Josh Allen, you're going to get 20 on regular weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that David Montgomery, that's probably where he's going to sit this whole year. I have him in another league as well. I think he's going to be a good safety net around that 10 to 15 points. Cam Akers, I don't trust anybody in LA because of the new guy that came on the block, and we'll talk about him a little later. But AJ Brown, like I said, the Eagles' offense just looked lackluster after the first quarter, so you can't really expect that from AJ Brown. I think Devontae Smith threw up 17, which usually they're right there with each other. Usually Devontae Smith's the one with 14, and then AJ Brown's is more in the 20th range. But so you can see a little bit better there. The Isaiah Hudgens, what was going on there?
He's a Giants fan.
I just took a shot.
Took a shot.
Yeah, he had a nice year last year. He was like a good like 10 to 14 point guy. It's my flex. I was just like, or it wasn't my flex, excuse me, but it was just like one of those things where it was like I didn't really know what else to do at that point, and having Watson out sucked
Yes.
because that's who was supposed to be starting there. And so I just, like I said, I just threw a wild card out there. It's week 1. It didn't work. I'm not in love with this team anyways, so it kind of was just like it was just it is what it is move, and it didn't work out. That was all.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at your defense, are you a little bit panicked about the Cincinnati Bengals defense right now, or are you going to stay with them?
I'm probably gonna change them out.
Yeah, I can see that going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati's offense has always been great. Their defense was decent last year. I don't see the potential in their defense this year. They lost a few key pieces. I think there's better defenses on the board after this week 1 that you can swatch it out for. But going top to bottom for Jonah's team real quick. I mean, he had Austin Eckler, dude's a stud. Jalen Hurts gives you 12. That's the floor. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, Terry McLaurin, Darren Waller, J.K. Dobbins, which he's going to have to swap out because J.K. Dobbins is done for the season. Young Hoku, Baltimore Ravens defense. Jonah's team in this league is like right here where I see him decent. At 106. I think he a consistent 100 to 120 a week. I don't see any standouts. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, and Eckler, they can carry that. But besides the top 3 guys, I don't see anybody else on the team that's going to get him massive amount of influx. So if those 3 don't go off, then he has a week like he has this week. But I
hear me,
his
Waller next week.
You think Waller next week's in a ball? Hey, I hope everyone on the Giants next week balls because there's a lot of fantasy options over there.
I mean, I do for my own personal mental sanity. I definitely do for sure.
For sure, watching that game is rough.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's not much to talk about. Like in that week, you got hit hard.
You took one on the chin.
You took one on the chin.
Yeah. That's just one of those weeks that you don't think about again and you just move on because I probably will not have that bad of a week again this year.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you can do a little bit of management there and you'll be better.
You heard it here first.
So no more 60-point weeks for Chad. But we'll go ahead and go over my matchup real quick with Gabe. Tua Tagovailoa, I think he's the number 1 QB this week, correct?
They throw for like 1,050 yards or something.
Yeah, he threw for like 400 yards, a couple touchdowns, 27
I think it was
points.
466, right, Chad?
It was wild. But then you had Patrick Mahomes, which gave you a decent game, 19. You'd love to see that. I mean, I think that's right where Patrick Mahomes' floor is going to be. Like, I think anything over 18, I think I can't see Patrick Mahomes scoring less than 18. He's probably going to get you more in the 20 range. So a good week out of Patrick Mahomes. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, that 1-2 punch with Tua Tagovailoa, that's 50 points right there. Nick Chubb, doing Nick Chubb things, 16 points. That's going to get you there. James Cook, I was a little disappointed in. He got me 10 points this week. I'm hoping to see a little bit better over there, but I do have someone to slot in for him because, I mean, my running backs in this league are not the best. Besides Christian McCaffrey, he's 2.5 running backs. Najee Harris, bad week. They went against San Francisco defense. San Francisco defense looks good. Then we're looking at CeeDee Lamb against Michael Thomas. CeeDee Lamb, like I said, I think the guy's a stud. He's number one reason. For a reason, it's just Dallas didn't have to throw the ball. Michael Thomas, I think that's where his ceiling / floor is going to be. I think he's going to be a 10-point game every week. Amon St. Brown, good as we talked about him, 19 points. Deebo Samuel, 11 points. That's a little like you guys touched on Metcalf Lockett situation. It's going to be either Ayuk or Samuel. Higbee giving me 7.9. I'm not mad at it. I'm not happy at it. I'm definitely looking for my options in tight ends because in this league I do have Ayuk sitting on my bench. I mean, it's hard to play Ayuk over CeeDee Lamb, Amon St. Brown, or Amari Cooper. Our Amari Cooper had a bad week this week, but I don't see it happening again. Michael Pittman had a really great week at 23 points. I was really happy to see how he teamed up with Richardson there. They looked really good. They looked like really good fantasy options. Riley Patterson gave me 3. Harrison Butker gave him 8. The New York Jets. I mean, before the season started, I was high on the New York Jets. I think we all were. They came out and gave us 20 points. Their defense looks legit. Buffalo Bills giving them 5. So not much really to go off of there. I mean, it's a solid week for my guys. Like I said, if I play Ayuk, I'm scoring over 150 this week, but I don't see me putting Ayuk in this lineup over CeeDee Lamb, Amon St. Brown, or Amari Cooper. So that's an option. I can always try to package Ayuk with somebody and try to get someone's better tight end option. I think that's probably the route I'm going to try to go towards, especially if Ayuk has another breakout game. I think his stock's going to go even higher. You're going to
be dangerous.
Yeah, this is one of the leagues I feel a lot comfortable with. I mean, you guys know me. I like to take wide receivers and I like to hold them. So it's going to be a good one here. But yeah, I mean, besides that, I think everything else kind of fell into place in this league. I'm a little disappointed in how Georgie's team faced out. He's got a super stocked lineup. He's got Joe Burrow.
Well, he's my situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think he fell into the same boat. Just people not performing week 1, but his team is really solid. I don't think he has anything to worry about. I mean, he just had a bad week. Chris had a bad week, same situation. I think just a lot of superstars that we know are superstars just didn't perform in week 1, and it threw off a lot of numbers for everybody. But I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But
how many wins in a row is that for Justin?
For Justin? Well, he lost in the finals last year. Or no, he won in the finals. I think this is continuing the streak. I think Justin's at like 10 or 12 wins in a row.
Yeah, because he had quite a few at the end of the season there. He really just came out of nowhere. And I remember he was on a streak.
Yeah, because he actually went, I think it was like 0-4 to start the league last year, and then he didn't lose after that. So, I mean, solid week 1, 157. You love to see it. But we'll just jump ahead. I'll just do a quick recap of my ESPN leagues. So, in this league, this is a 10-man league. I went ahead and put up 151. The guy I went against went 70 points, so I doubled his score. You love to see it. Game of Throws lost to Saints and Sinners by 1 point. That's a rough one right there. GZMD went ahead and took down Team Cisco. Billy the Goat took down Chris in this league as well. So back-to-back L's for Chris. Yeah, that was a rough one. 120 to 107. Sunday nights scored up 133 to 105 against Florida touchdowns. I mean, this is the team that I'm most confident with, and I think you guys were as well last week. This is the team that I'm stacked in. Trevor Lawrence, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Dallas Goedert, Jahan Dotson. If Christian Watson plays this week, I'm pretty sure I'm scoring over like 170. But like I said, I put Dotson in. He gave me 11 points. That's what you can expect from him. I got 20 from the defense of the Jets. Jake Elliott gave me 18, which was ridiculous. Like that guy came out and just scored. We really love to see that. He almost won me another league, but I mean, even my bench here, it was hard to drop anybody. I think I ended up
Mhm.
dropping Drake. No, I think I ended up dropping McKinnon to pick up a different running back that I really was high
That's your
on
best
this
bet.
week, and then I dropped Quentin Johnson to pick up a different wide receiver. I think I ended up with Kendrick Bourne in this league, which I think is going to be a solid pick up throughout the rest of the league. But this is one of those leagues where I don't have to change my lineup. Like everybody that's starting right now, I can play every week and be satisfied with. I think they're getting me over 130 every week, which it showed here week one. I think I'm number one in the league right now. This one, it was a tough one for the ESPN league. This is a 12 man. I lost by 1 point. My
Oof.
kicker almost saved it for me. I had Elliott in this one as well, but he had Mayer, and Mayer put up those points right at the end of the game, which brought him over me. It was a rough loss, but we take that one on the chin. This is a league that I did draft Travis Kelsey, and the league that I also put in the Tennessee Titans tight end. So he got me 0 points, which was awesome. If he got me at anything, I win this league. But it's good potential. Team Virgil took down Fashizzle My Nizzle, 130 to 101. Too Fast took down Quatch Rocket, 112 to 110. Miss Eves took down Game of Throws in a low scoring game, 88 to 74. I think there's probably some superstars on that team, probably the Cincinnati Eagles situation where they're just not scoring that many points in week one. Billy the Goat went ahead, took down the 12-year-old, 123 to 106. And then we had Team the Niners going against Team Weeks, 141 to 100. They had some studs on their team. I think they played Ayuk. They think they played Dallas. They played Eckler. So, I mean, that's a solid lineup right there for week one. You love to see it. But let's go ahead and jump into your ESPN league real quick, Nick.
Do, 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 do,
Do, do,
do.
do, do, do. All right. Got it live. Look at that.
You can see it.
We can see it.
All right. So, what's funny to listen to you talk about the team that you feel the most confident in is your team and my team are damn near the same.
They look pretty
Um,
similar.
they're very, very similar. So I went up against Saletha. She did play Kelsey this week. She didn't get a chance to take him out before the game started, and she had T. Higgins. So,
Rough.
I mean, but I also, I had Trevor Lawrence who did great. I had Eckler who did great. Aaron Jones did great. AJ Brown, I expect him to be higher, but it's we already talked about that. Waddle, expect to see higher. We talked about that. Dalton Schultz, we talked about him. It's not time to hit the panic button. This is who surprised me. Samaje Perine. I threw him in instead of Zay Flowers, which is a bad choice because I didn't know exactly what to expect out of Zay Flowers. I wasn't ready to, rip off that band-aid yet. Now I feel a little bit more confident. We'll see how he does. But Perine actually really impressed me. I was watching that game. He did really, really well, especially for an RB2,
Yeah.
theoretically. Cowboys defense got me 37 points. And then I had Graham gonna we don't expect to see this.
No, you
You
won't see
don't
that
expect
again.
what the worst part is Saletha has an amazing team. I mean, she's got Dak Prescott. She could do better there. And I'm saying that unbiasedly, obviously. She's got Derrick Henry. She's got Brees Hall. She's got T. Higgins. She's got Olave, Kelsey, Ridley, two Ravens defense. Like, she's got a stacked team. Now, I will say that her stacked team, and I'm going to say this, and I don't feel bad about it, was auto drafted.
Okay.
So
I mean, yeah, there's a reason she's stacked. And there's also, I mean, you can see the team, how good it is, because there's 2 zeros on there and she almost scored 100 points.
yeah, but this is a 12-man league, and I still put up 148. I was not the highest scoring person.
Wow.
So I don't know if you can see right up here, it's very small.
Ball.
Luis Ball Fondlers put up 160. It's just insane. So I beat Slate at 148-98. A Burrito, that's Jose. Beat Odell Squad, that's Adrian. 111-93. This is Michael, Rocky Point Sand Sharks. Beat Hale Murray, that's Kim. Kim did not
He did not have a good week 1.
Kim did not have a good week 1, but we'll turn it around. It's not Team Chicken Nuggets anymore. It's just Chicken Nugget this year. That's Alexis beat Team Verdugo, so that's Juan. Ball Fondlers, that's like I said, that's Luis. Beat Baldenko Rules, that's Rachel. She was projected to win the league. So I think in all of them we went over, the person who was said to win the league lost, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much around like across the board. Everybody that was projected to win week 1 or like to win the league lost week 1.
And then Lorenzo here, AZU China Clan, beat Gracie, Team Valencia. She had a rough go. I mean, she had Rodgers put up zero. I mean, nobody hit double digits except for her Eagles defense.
That is
And the
rough.
only reason I think she picked the Eagles defense is because she knew that Lorenzo, being an Eagles fan, wanted it. I think that was out of spite. I think her best player is a spite move.
I'm gonna just be honest here. Does anybody look at this team and her bench and feel like, and I don't mean to be rude, is she ever gonna win a game this week? Like this, I don't mean to be. This team looks
She's already made
very weak.
she's already made some moves. I was looking at the waiver wire. She's already made some moves. So that's already going. I mean, I
You got to
would
be
have put
starting Brock
in
Purdy.
I would have put in Brock Purdy over Aaron Rodgers, just not knowing the situation week 1. I would have waited
Yeah.
1 week to put in Aaron Rodgers. That's we've already talked about Cam Akers. You're on the Pacheco train. I'm not, but that's just me. Honestly, her Jets defense, I would have played over the Eagles just due to matchup.
Yeah, do the matchup.
Due to matchup. Because I mean Buffalo's, yeah, they're high scoring, but New England, they're tricky in what am I calling it? Trap games.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah,
I think that was a trap game.
New England's always a dark horse. Like you don't know what to expect with them. You're either going to get a game where one team puts up 20 and one puts up 3, or a game where both teams put up 14. And that's what it is. Like anytime you play in the New England, I feel like it's trap game essentially, like you said, because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah. But no, she's not a huge football fan. I mean, she's a Raiders fan, so
Oh,
says enough.
gross.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think she's a Raiders. I don't think she's a Raiders fan. I know her brother is. I don't think she is. Um, but no, that's this right here. This draft is not. She's fairly new. I think last year was her first year, so she's still learning the ropes. She's. I don't think she had any help this year on her draft. So I mean, she made a couple good, decent calls. Picking up Aaron Rodgers is like, okay, it's always a good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's potential, but not much. Like she
Yeah.
needs to be hitting the waiver wire right now. There's a lot.
She
There's a
and
lot better
she did.
options on the board. So maybe we could take a quick gander at what her team looks like now, because like Chad said, not to be mean, but looking at that team right now, I don't see them winning more than 2 games. Like they're the Arizona Cardinals of the league right now.
Let's see.
I
Shit.
think you just click on her name. There you go. Okay.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like no. That's what she got. She put in Brock Purdy. She still has the Eagles defense in. Swap the Jets defense in right now.
Definitely.
Other than that, she didn't do. I mean, she picked up Derek Carr, dropped Aaron Rodgers, but I don't see any changes to her starting lineup. Which
She probably put in different ones and didn't get them.
maybe
Didn't set the priorities right, or I saw a couple moves. I did see that Derek Carr.
Defense.
Yeah, definitely start. Well, yeah.
I still start them. Like you start them until they prove that they can't. Like the Dallas
the Eagles
Cowboy
are going
defense,
Minnesota.
49ers. I mean, still like Like I said,
I
the
don't know.
Eagles. I would still. I'm still riding with the Jets, even if they're playing the Cowboys. I think it's just going to be a defensive game, going back and forth. But yeah,
This
she's
week
going
she
against
plays
you.
me.
So yeah, play the Jets. Fuck it. See what
No,
happens.
no, 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 no.
That's going to be an
We don't.
interesting game, by the way. That Jets Cowboys game. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
is Zach Wilson going to get more than 80 yards in the air in that game? Because I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah, and like, but are the Cowboys going to struggle against the Jets defense? I feel like we're going to really see how good the Cowboys offense is or is not
Yeah,
this week. Because if they can put up numbers against the Jets, um, then yeah, that'll kind of tell you all you need to know.
they're gonna have to throw the ball. Like, there's no way Dak did what he did last week, where he got away with not throwing the ball. They're gonna have to throw the ball. We already seen how nasty the Jets secondary is, so I think that's gonna face a lot of more problems. I see Dallas's defense having to be on the field a lot more compared to where they were with the Giants. But then again, it's Zach Wilson behind there, so they could, it could be a 3-and-out, him getting sacked running for his life every round. So,
Yeah.
but I do see the Jets defense still haven't given them a run for their money, just because I think they're two of the best defenses in the league right now. If you like take out San Francisco and I think those are the top three right there: San Francisco, Giants, or Jets, and Dallas. I think they're auto locks to start every week. Even doesn't matter the match. I think they're still going to get you points.
I definitely think so. I mean, Buffalo was in their backfield the other night. You know what I mean? And Buffalo's defense is not nearly as good, honestly. Um, but I think this week coming up, I think you're gonna see some interceptions.
On both sides,
I'll
yeah,
call it on
Yeah.
both sides. I'll call it now.
yeah. Well, you got to think as well. Like Zach Wilson, he didn't start with any of these guys, and then he got thrown into the game. He's going to have a week under him. I mean, then they're gonna change up the plays, get the ball out of his hand a lot quicker. They're going to have to, but I don't think the Jets are going to struggle as much as everyone thinks, just
I
because
do.
their defense is as solid as it is.
Dude, I watch every Jets game. Bro, Zach Wilson sucks.
He does suck.
The Cowboys defense is going to eat that dude alive.
I mean, I hope to see a competitive game. I think it's going to be defenses shooting at each other, but I mean, they got to figure out the situation over there. Zach Wilson is not the guy. If the Jets have any plans to, they went all in with Aaron Rodgers, but if they could go all in, maybe try to pick up someone else, like a team that's, quote unquote, going to be struggling this year, see if they can pick up their quarterback and make a switch. But yeah, Zach Wilson needs to get out of there. That's going to be the downfall of the Jets this year. But okay, going into that, who was your guys' biggest disappointment this week? This week in week one, we'll go ahead and start it off with you, Nick.
So I'm gonna. This is an easy one for me, especially with what I've seen. So I'm gonna go teams here. Biggest disappointment, Bengals. And you know where I'm going with my best here. The Cowboys. I mean, even with their offensive low output, I think their defense more than made up for it. So I'm going two teams this week.
Okay, so
I'm gonna throw it off a little bit.
your best and your worst is two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about you, Chad?
So I'm gonna have like a little asterisk to this. So my worst this week, right, is tight ends. You lost your number one and number two tight end in the NFL, didn't play this week. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Kelsey's a first round pick in a lot of leagues,
Yes.
right?
Every league.
Yeah. So
Every league.
yeah, exactly, every league, right? So Kelsey, you lost one of the best players in the NFL in fantasy football this week. Then he lost the number two guys, and then everybody else, there was no tight end that like popped off
No.
this week.
Evan Ingram, like is that the
Who actually that's you know what? I'm gonna go look this up right now. I'm kind of curious. In standard leagues, who was
The best.
the highest?
Like,
Yeah,
who's
so
tight end one right now? Because I think even Zach Ertz is like tight end like 6 or something. It's ridiculous.
let's see. Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry, and Hayden Hurst, which let's get something super clear. Nobody started Hayden Hurst this week, okay? Nobody started him, and then everybody else is just middle of the road. And then you even had a guy in on the Chargers that he's not even the tight end that you would have started over there.
No.
And so like, I'm just my biggest disappointment this week for sure was tight ends. Yep, tight ends overall were my best. And my worst. And uh, God, this fucking kills me to say. But the best is the Cowboys because they just, I mean, if your team
Yeah.
had an average week, that defense elevated you to win your week because all you needed was average from the rest of your players. That's how good of a week they had. And like, don't get me wrong, it should be Tyreek Hill, but I expect that from Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill.
we
The
expect
dude,
that from Tyreek Hill.
I expect that when Tua is healthy and Tyreek is healthy, there is no better duo in the football because the dude just gets 360-yard plays every game. It's it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
But-
He's so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, but I mean, the best is it's just got to be the Dallas Cowboys defense.
Okay. I can see.
I
I
mean,
can
look
see,
at what
yeah, I mean, it makes
predict
yeah
4-0.
4-0 because of the defense. You love to see it. I would say my biggest disappointment is probably going to be. God damn, you guys took both of. I mean, yeah, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, just in general, like we alluded to earlier, between four players who are four fantasy football studs, we got 22 points out of, which is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how many. It's disrespectful because these guys. I mean, Joe Burrow, top 5 quarterback. Jamar Chase, top 3 wide receiver. T. Higgins, still a maybe top 20 wide receiver, and he's a wide receiver too. Joe Mixon, I mean, he's always been consistent. Top 5, top 10. Yeah, top 10. So he's always been Mr. Consistent. He still got double digits this week. I don't know how, with how bad they looked over there, but it's just Cincinnati. Get your shit together. I mean, it's week 1. Maybe you guys just in a slump because none of the starters played during the preseason, but that's ridiculous. The Browns came in and manhandled you, and that should never happen. But then again, Cincinnati, under Joe Burrow's reign, they are not the best against Cleveland. Every year, it seems like their bad games happen against Cleveland. And if this is a consistent
for the last 4 years.
The last 4 years, yeah, they've happened against Cleveland. So that's just be something on your radar. Maybe if you have a different option to play that week when they do play Cleveland again, maybe just go ahead and choose that better option. I would say my standout definitely is going to be Anthony Richardson, the Colts quarterback. He came in. This kid was a stud in college. They ended up losing the game, but he played like an NFL quarterback. He looked like an NFL quarterback. He looked ready to go. He had a really good connection with Pittman, which I was hoping on because I think they're both studded athletes. I think Pittman's been an athlete for a while now. He's been a safe option, but I think this is going to elevate him even more. So I'm really happy to see that. I mean, I think a lot of people were high on Anthony Richardson, and he came out week 1 and he performed. They lost, but he came out, dropped 20 points. I mean, that's what you can expect from a rookie guy. I think the potential's there. We see the potential now. I think this ceiling is going to even go higher. I think his floor is going to be a safe floor for everybody that needs a quarterback, especially in these 12-man leagues where Aaron Rodgers just went down. There's a couple other quarterbacks that, you guys are always on the fence with, like Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott. I think Anthony Richardson is a great start over those guys. If he's not available, or if he is available in your league, I think he's one of the waiver wires guys you go after right away. Even if you have a Patrick Mahomes, a Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, on those weeks that they can't play, or God forbid something happens to them, he is, I think, an easy guy you could slot in and just get consistent points out of. So that he's going to be my stud this week. I'm going to give him his flowers. He came out, he balled out, he looks good. But as speaking of waiver wires, like, who was you guys' top 2 waiver wire picks this week?
So I'm going to jump in here. Sorry, Chad.
No, I wanted to go first.
Okay, I went off of week 1 hype. I'm going to see if it's a fluke, and that's okay. I had people on my bench that I could get rid of. Okay, so I went with the hype. I picked up Puka Nakua. We'll see. We'll see. I I don't trust them. That whole team. Um,
He looked
but
revived. He looked revived.
he,
He
he,
looked revived.
I picked it up, and then I picked up Hunter Henry
Okay.
because it was more than just his points. It was watching the game, watching the vibe between them. They were on the same page. And if anybody's proven anything, it's get a tight end quarterback combo that's in sync, and you're doing well.
Yeah.
I think they've found the cheat code. If you can find a tight end and a quarterback who are on the same page, because I mean, look what happened to the Chiefs without Kelsey. You know what I mean? It's like you take out that key link, and it's like, okay, what did they do? Nothing. So I did. I picked up this week. I picked up Puka Nakua and Hunter Henry. I'm gonna see what happens. Right now, they're both on my bench. They're both probably gonna sit there for another week or two, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I think those are safe options there, especially with the I can't pronounce his name, the wide receiver from the Rams. I think it's a safe option there. I think a lot of people picked him up. I
Tutu
don't.
Atwell.
No. What's his goddamn name?
Puka
Nakua?
Nakua.
Puka Nakua? Yeah, so a lot of people picked him up. I think he went first in pretty much everyone's waiver wires. He's a good option to keep on your bench for sure. Uh, I see the potential there. The only downside I see with him is Cooper Cup's back in 4 weeks. So once
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Cup's back, does his production go down, or has Stafford made that relationship with him where he's going to be the second guy over there? Because Cooper Cup's always
Which
going to get
is
his touch. So even if
mm-hmm.
he's the second guy, I mean, we see it work out with Jalen Waddle. We see it work out with T. Higgins. Usually, we see it work out with God damn it, who is I mean the Metcalf Lockett situation.
Right.
I can see him being that solid, 10 points a week with a high ceiling of maybe 18 to 25 points. But it's going to be nice to be able to see him for 4 weeks and see him develop into the guy that he could be. Go ahead, Malozzi. Who are your top two waiver wires?
So I mean, I want to say, like, I don't really love the that pick that much. I mean, I think that there's potential in it. I just don't know if I had the number one waiver wire pick, if that's who I would go for. I think I would look for a little bit more consistent depth in the waiver wire. I I think Miles Sanders, who was available in a lot of leagues, was a good waiver wire pickup. I was actually happy that I was able to pick him up. I was surprised, to be honest with you. I thought somebody might grab him. He was utilized there. He's going to be a heavy part of their offense, and he can catch the ball.
Yes.
So I think that he was. I think that he was a good pickup. I think that the other good pickup was Jacoby Myers. He was also another guy available on a lot of waiver wires, and I think that people forget that last year in New England he was the number one,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and he has been for 2 years, and that's with a rookie Mac Jones throwing to him, right? And then a second year Mac Jones that didn't really look that much better, right? So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out as the year goes on, right? I think that he was another good waiver wire. I was thinking about something too. One player that I wanted to add that was a big disappointment because we kind of all were in the same realm, but I want to bring a running back, Josh Jacobs. I just want to kind of go back to that. This was a top 3 running back last year, and it wasn't like he didn't get his
Top.
touches.
Wasn't he
He
number
was
one?
No,
above
Eckler,
McCaffrey and Eckler.
McCaffrey, then Jacob.
Oh,
Yeah, I think he was number 3. And did he even have 10 points this week?
I think he broke 9. I think it was 9.
Yeah, right. Like that's what I'm saying. So, because we kind of all focused on like you the team, we kind of were on the tight end and like the wide receiver thing, but like for me, the number 3 running back in all of the NFL last year in points, doing nothing. Now, I know Denver's D is good, but anyways, I'm done. That's my 2 plus a little bonus there.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Before you go, Adam,
Yep.
one more name, and I hope I don't steal this from you, and if so, I apologize. Another one that's on not on a lot of teams because people kind of gave up on him, and is Mooney,
Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. He's not ready to be given up on yet. So
Yeah, I think I see the potential over there with Justin Fields. I've just been burnt with Mooney this last year, so I stay away
so
from
have
him.
I.
Yeah, so I stay away from him. I'm not a big fan of him, but I do think there's a better option in a wide receiver. Big pickup that's available in a lot of leagues, and I think it's Kendrick Bourne. I mean, you were just talking about Jacoby Myers. He was the number 1 over there in New England, and now Bourne has just stepped right in. I think we're going to see a lot of consistent plays out of him and Mac Jones. I think that's his guy now. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Kendrick Bourne because he did show potential last year, and I don't think this game 1 is a fluke. I think he's going to be right now. He's sitting at the 5th best receiver, and that's over not the Rams wide receiver. And I think a lot of people went towards the Rams wide receiver because of the potential they saw there, the hype. I think if you want to go a safer option, I think Bourne is the option to go with. I mean, New England's going to get their points. Yeah, 11 targets. He's going to get his touches. I think he's a stud. I think a lot of people are sitting on him on the waiver wires. You could go pick him up right now. He's probably available in most leagues. And I can't rave enough about this guy. I think he's going to be a solid flex option throughout the whole year. Like I said, Jacoby Myers. You see what he did on the Raiders, and we saw what he's done with Mac Jones throwing him the ball. Now we're going to see Bourne with Mac Jones throwing him the ball. So I think that's a really safe bet. And then I'm going to do something that I probably preached on this podcast a lot of times. And my second guy is going to be Williams from the Rams, the running back over there. I saw a lot of potential with him. I think he stole a lot of the touches from Cam Akers, and I think he's going to continue to. I think this is a guy you could stash away on your bench for a rainy day. I see him just the potential going there even higher, especially once Cooper Kupp is healthy. I think that opens up the game a lot more for the running over there in Los Angeles. But yeah, there's the 2 guys I'm real high with. A lot of people right now are taking Gus Edwards. I am not a big fan of that. I was not a fan of J.K. Dobbins' pick to start. Now he's down. I don't think
neither was I, and I picked him in 2 leagues.
I don't think he's just gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a slot in where Gus Edwards is just gonna do the same thing you could have expected from J.K. Dobbins. I don't think the running backs in Baltimore get any better. So I think there's better options out there. Like Algier is a good option for the waiver wires. I mean, B.J. Robinson is there, but Algier's. I mean, he was a beast last year. I think it's going to be consistent there. Another guy, Joshua Kelly from
Chargers.
the Chargers. I think he's a safe bet if you do have Eckler, and Eckler does not play this week because I mean, there's something questionable about Eckler. I don't know. I don't think it's as much of a situation as the Aaron Jones one, but he's a safe bet that if you do need to slot somebody in, we've seen Joshua Kelly pop off in the past, so he's a safe bet if you do need a 1 week fill in. But yeah, I would just tell you tight ends were disappointing. Besides the top 2, which is like Eckler and McCaffrey, besides them, I think Jones popped off and then Pollard popped off. Besides that, I think RB's had a real rough week as well. So we're going to see how. I mean, Joe Mixon had a rough week. Some other big names, Josh Jacobs had a rough week. I think they're going to bounce back.
You can even go as far as saying wide receiver 1's had a bad week.
Yeah, I mean, the league had a bad week. Fantasy football had a bad week.
Not the whole league.
Not the whole league because goddamn defense. But any closing thoughts for anybody? We did not have a guest this week. We'll bring you guys live with a guest next week. But we're going to be doing a little bit shorter of the podcast next week. Hopefully, we're going to have a different segment video. We're going to tease that. So, I mean, you guys will see. We'll have our little waiver wire discussion.
Just keep tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll have a little bit, something to fill your palate throughout the weekend. So if you guys want to watch us for like 30 minutes extra, you guys can go ahead and do that. But we'll go ahead and close it up this time. Thank you guys for watching us. We appreciate you guys' support. If you guys have any comments, leave them down in the description. If there's anything you guys wanted to see a little bit more of, or maybe we
leave some comments.
a little bit too much, but yeah, leave us some comments. We love to read them. You guys have a wonderful day. You guys want to say anything before you guys leave?
Love you.
Chad's just happy to be here. Look at his face. He's just so happy to be here. Mans loves this every week, and he's going to be in here for at least 16 weeks. You love to see it. But everyone have a great night. Everyone have a great night. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys riding with us. And we'll see you guys for week 2 next week. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.